Taking your business global, it can feel like trying to solve a puzzle in the dark, right? The rewards are huge, but one wrong move, it could be a disaster. So what if there was a playbook, a set of proven strategies that successful companies use to absolutely win on the world stage? Well, today we're going to break it down.
Okay, let's make this real. Imagine you've built an amazing company that sells smart air purifiers. You're crushing it in your home market, and now the whole world is calling your name. But what really separates a triumphant global launch from a costly logistical nightmare? That's the big question we're tackling today.
So our playbook is broken down into 5 absolutely critical chapters. We're going to start with the single most important decision you'll make. Then we'll get into how you fund the whole thing, solve that universal problem of trust, navigate some pretty sneaky hidden risks, and finally, master the tax strategies that can literally make or break your bottom line.
All right, Chapter 1, the expansion decision. Before you ship a single product or sign any contracts, you face this one fundamental choice. How are you going to enter this new market? Because believe me, everything else hinges on this answer.
Think of it like a seesaw. This really gets to the core dilemma. On one side, you can just export your products. It's definitely lower risk, but you give up a ton of control, and you're going to get hit by tariffs. On the other side, you can make what's called a foreign direct investment, or FDI. Go all in and build your own factory. It's a much bigger risk for sure, but it gives you total control and a way to sidestep those pesky tariffs. For our air purifier company, that high-control, tariff-dodging route of FDI is the clear winner. And the target? Vietnam. But why on earth would you build a factory there, of all places? Well, the answer is all in the numbers. First off, the growth there is just explosive. With a projected GDP growth of up to 9%, Vietnam is one of the fastest growing economies on the entire planet. And what does that mean for you? More customers with more money to spend. Simple as that. Second, the demographics are just perfect. Vietnam has what they call a golden population, with 2/3 of its people being of working age. This is a double win. You get a strong workforce for your factory and a rapidly expanding base of consumers who want to buy your stuff. And here it is. This is the killer advantage. By producing in Vietnam, our company plugs into 17 different free trade agreements. This isn't just about building a factory to sell to one country. No, this is about creating a tariff-free launchpad to the rest of the world. Okay, so the decision's made. We're building a factory in Vietnam. Great. But, factories are expensive. So the next chapter in our playbook is all about the money. How do you raise the capital for this huge international leap? You've basically got 2 main paths in the global capital markets. Path 1 is a direct international loan from a bank. That's often faster and a bit more flexible. Path 2 is issuing international bonds, often called Eurobonds. Now, don't let the name fool you. It has nothing to do with the euro. They're simply bonds sold in a currency outside of that currency's home country. This lets you tap into a massive pool of global investors, usually with fewer regulatory hurdles. So the factory is funded, it's up and running. But you know how it is, solving one problem often creates a new one. And this next problem is as old as trade itself. How do you actually get paid by a customer thousands of miles away who you have never, ever met? Yeah, it all boils down to one simple word: trust. The buyer doesn't want to pay you until they know the goods are shipped, and you don't want to ship until you know you're going to get paid. It is the classic standoff. The solution is this brilliant financial tool called a letter of credit, or an LC. Basically, a bank steps into the middle of the deal. It gives you, the exporter, a rock-solid guarantee that you'll get paid as long as you can prove you held up your end of the bargain and shipped the goods. The process itself is like this beautifully simple dance. First, the buyer's bank issues the letter of credit. Once your bank gets that confirmation, you ship the goods. Then, you just take the shipping documents, your proof, to your own bank. And here's the magic part. Your bank verifies them and pays you right away. The buyer and their bank can sort out the rest. That whole trust issue? Gone. The system itself becomes the guarantee. So you're making sales, you're getting paid, everything's great. But there's another kind of invisible risk you have to manage: the constant, crazy fluctuation of currency exchange rates. And this stuff can just quietly eat away at your profits if you're not paying attention. There are really 3 types of this currency risk. You've got transaction risk, which hits your cash flow on individual deals. Then there's translation risk, which messes with your reported earnings when you convert profits back to your home currency. And then there's economic risk. That's the big one. It can impact your long-term competitiveness if a currency shift suddenly makes your products way too expensive for people to buy.
All right, we've made it. The final and probably most advanced chapter in the playbook, mastering the global tax game. This, right here, is where the really successful multinationals create a massive, massive competitive advantage.
So get this. How is it even possible for one company to earn $100 million and pay nearly 50% in taxes, while another, smarter company earns the exact same amount but pays just 29%? The secret isn't about earning more. It's about mastering the problem of double taxation.
Just take a look at these two scenarios. In the first column, without any tax credits, your profit gets taxed in the foreign country and then it gets taxed again when you bring it home. Ouch. But now look to the right. By using foreign tax credits, your home country essentially says, hey, we see you already pay taxes over there, so you don't have to pay us that same portion again. And the result? The total tax bill gets slashed.
But the true masterstroke of global tax strategy goes even further. It's a concept called transfer pricing. And this is where having your own factory in Vietnam becomes this massive strategic weapon. It's all about setting the price for goods sold between your own family of companies. This is just brilliant. Check it out. By raising the internal transfer price of a component from $50 to $90, the company legally shifts $40 of profit away from its sales office in a high-tax country and moves it over to its factory in a low-tax country. You're selling the same product, making the same final sale, but your global tax bill is much, much lower.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from our playbook? Well, it's that going global isn't just one big decision. It's a whole series of interconnected trade-offs. The smartest companies, they don't just solve problems like funding or tax in a vacuum. They understand how every single piece, from that factory in Vietnam to the price of a tiny component, fits together into one powerful global machine.
So you've followed the playbook. You've built this incredible global financial machine. But that just brings up the next and maybe even harder question. How do you manage the human element? How do you make sure the amazing culture that fueled your success at home can thrive all over the world? Well, that's a story for another time.